Hey folks, just getting started here. Got my morning coffee, first playing of the day, so glad you could join. Hey folks, how you doing? Hope you've been having a good week so far. Welcome to the live stream. This is literally my first playing of the day, getting caffeinated as well. But I'm glad you could join me here. And if you're here for the very first time on one of these live streams, welcome. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. But also, if you have any questions about bass playing whatsoever, anything to do with bass playing, gear, concepts, techniques, anything to do with playing gigs, recording, playing in a band, or anything like that, pop it down in the chat. And I'll try my best to help you out and help each other out, right? But this is a place where we can just nerd out about bass playing, whether you are a bass player or not. Everyone is welcome here, and we get to share our love and passion for this amazing role that we get to do in music, and that's playing the bass in every capacity. This is just a nice little improvised loop that I've got going on here to kind of just get the day going. And for those of you who are interested, because this question usually pops up, so the effects that I am using, so I'm using a TC Electronic vibrato pedal called the Shaker. I don't know if it's still in production anymore. They might have the mini version. I'm not too sure. So I'm using that and a New Neighbor reverb pedal called the Immerse Mark II, the reverberator. It's really nice. So it gives that nice just space, that nice air, especially when playing chords. And also using this recently acquired volume pedal. One of my guitar playing buddies gave it to me because it was just sitting in his closet. But it's a big, you can't see it obviously, but it's a big honking thing. What is it? It's a it's the Ernie ball. It's that big, the big one. I remember seeing, and I have had one of these before in the past. I remember seeing, it's pretty nice. It's nice and it's very solid. It has a nice smooth kind of gradualness to it. I remember seeing Alan Holdsworth using a bunch of these. These were like the ones that he always used. So I think that's another reason why I like it. How's everyone doing? B fourths. Appreciate you. I love playing fourths on the bass. B fourths, bass fourths. Exactly. I love fourths. Obviously, the bass is in fourths, but it's just a really cool sound. I think for me that it definitely draws out a lot of my McCoy Tyner influence in there. But it's just such a really great usable sound when playing. I'm gonna tilt my camera down a bit. See more of the bass. Yeah, it should be better. Okay, and let's see here. Simsy, how you doing? Any tips with identifying and playing in odd time signatures? There's a song called Auto Body by the band Forager, and I'm having trouble with counting it. Ah, cool. Yeah, absolutely. I love playing, and I've done this a few times on the live streams here. Talking about odd time signatures, and I absolutely love playing odd time signatures. It's something that I've worked on a lot. I'm not sure of the tune called Auto Body by the band Forager, but what I can do really quick is I can listen to a little bit of it. I can play a little bit of it actually, and kind of help you figure out how we could count it. Hopefully it's not too crazy. So, but you know, in that case, I still love figuring out things like that. Now here's the thing. So sometimes you get tunes that might have one continuous odd time signature throughout the whole tune, and then you might have tunes that have mixed meters, so it goes between several different time signatures, and sometimes that can be hard, but the common thing amongst a lot of these tunes that have mixed meters is that there's always going to be some sort of consistent subdivision going on, and usually that's going to be like the 8th note or a 16th note, right? Even if you have some weird kind of like if you go from like 9/8 to 7/8 and then 4/4, something like that. The 8th notes are always going to be pretty consistent. But, you know, let's just have a quick look at this Auto Body tune by Forager. Let's see here. And I got my little nice lush thing here. We'll just pause that for right now. Let's see. How am I doing this properly? Just the audio routing on here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. trippy. Let's try it again. So it's like it's an ostinato that's got a 7 thing going on to it, right? But it might be like a hemiola over the bar line kind of thing going on, right? Let's see. So that's an interesting one right here. So it's one of those tunes where, now obviously I've never heard this tune before. This is Auto Body by a band called Forager. I've never heard of these cats before. It's hip. It's definitely the way that I would say, you know, coming from my perspective, the best thing for me to know, okay, where is, in terms of like where is everything going to come in. So the drums are essentially just playing this kind of just 4 groove, this groove in 4. But the bass and some of the other instruments are playing, you know, let's see. So it's interesting. Because it like changes in the middle. So let's see again. It's based off of a thing in 7, but there might be like there's something that gets trimmed off. That's because it just glides over the bar lines so forth. So essentially you could say that the whole thing is in 4, but the bass line is in 7. So how would you notate something like that if you were to make a chart of it? Well, you could do it a few different ways. You could write out the bass line as is, like with this 7 thing going. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. It almost seems like in the middle there where it just changes, does a bar of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's a thing in there. It's definitely got some mixed meter kind of thing. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just when you think you have it, you know, But the first part, though, where at least for the bass line, the drums kind of come in a little later. Let's do this one more time. We're kind of nerding out here, which is actually really cool. But you're kind of seeing a process of how I would go about learning a tune like this. So the important thing for me is like, okay, what is that bass line melody, right? Even whether it was a bass line or whether it's some sort of melody played by another instrument, that's the thing that is going to help me keep track of like counting or feeling where things are, right? Sometimes literally counting is not always the best option because sometimes you second guess yourself. The best way is to internalize a melody or whatever a certain rhythm is, because that will also help you understand the feel of the tune. If you're busy trying to like count and keep up, that actually makes things a lot more complicated. This is something that I've figured out from having to play music like this with different mixed meters and hemiolas and all kinds of weird things. So let's try this again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, So it might be something like that, where, and the part of their song is to have this kind of interesting, like, polyphony. You know, like, yes, there is a pulse there, and that's the thing. Going back to what I originally said earlier, even with all this kind of hemiolas and polyphony going on, there's always some sort of pulse in there. You know, in a tune like this, whether it's the 8th note or the 16th note, that is always going to be consistent no matter where things are being placed, right? I am interested, just skipping along. Corner store line. 'Cause if I listen too close, I may be screaming. There's a dog outside the corner store lying on his side under the hose, and I listen too close. And outside the auto body shop, a quartet of uncles playing cards, and I listen too close. It's the car door mirror. So this is a tune that's got a lot of moving parts to it. So when learning a tune like this, it's best to take it in those sections. That's how I would go about something like this. And that's fun. I'm going to have to listen to more of this. This band sounds really interesting. So thank you, Simzy, for hipping me to this. Definitely some really like nerdy stuff going on as well. So I'm gonna definitely check them out some more. But that's fun, you know. All kinds of things that like us music nerds could definitely just sink our teeth into. All kinds of really cool musical devices there, which I really enjoy. So thank you. We all got to. If you haven't heard of this band, again, this is Forager, and there's a tune called Autobody. So definitely going to check out more of their stuff. So that's fun. So let's see here. Mix 8, how you doing? Love the live streams. What vibrato envelope pedals do you use? So the vibrato, like I mentioned earlier, you might have missed it. Obviously, I guess, is the TC Electronic shaker. I'm not sure if they still have it in production anymore. I know they have the mini versions, but the original one is definitely for me the sound. And you're asking envelope pedal, so yeah, I use two envelope pedals right now. I just have one of them hooked up, but it's my favorite one, which is the EBS Bass IQ. I like it because you can control the attack of how much goes in. So you can set it to be really slow. So that's really fun. I love it. And I'm trying to remember where I actually. So that pedal, the great drummer, one of the greatest drummers, one of my favorite drummers, Gary Novak. He actually gave me that pedal. I was doing a session at his studio, and I was checking out. And you know, Gary is actually a really good bass player as well. Gary's a phenomenal musician. He comes from quite a big musical family. His dad is a legendary pianist, Larry Novak, in Chicago. Um, and so, of course, you know, and Gary is like a child prodigy, and was studying a lot with Peter Erskine when he was younger. Um, but anyway, Gary, I was in his studio doing a session, and I was like, oh man, I'd love to try out that pedal. It's like, yeah, go ahead, use whatever pedal you want on the thing. So I was recording a bass solo, and I used this pedal here, and I was doing like chords and all that. And at the end of it, he said, "Man, you could just have that. You could." He said that pedal was yours, man. He's like, I've only used it once in the 10 years that I've had it. But man, you definitely have a sound on it. So, Merry Christmas. So, thank you, Gary. You know. So yeah, so that's one. And the other envelope pedal I use is the MX bass envelope, which is more of a traditional, almost like a Mutron, Qtron kind of thing. If you want to go for that bootsy kind of vibe, which I absolutely love as well. Strings I'm using, right? So I use DR strings. This bass has the DR high beams. High beams are my favorite strings that I use. They are stainless steel. I was always a nickel wound guy for years. I think because there were other strings that I've tried from different companies that were stainless steel, and they were just too bright and too mid-scooped for me. And I needed to have and also too grippy. The high beams have convinced me otherwise. So when I joined DR, and I was like, oh well, let me try the stainless steels, and I was like, actually, I love these. I just want to play these ones. So they have just the right amount for my hands, just the right amount of resistance, the tension as well. My basses seem to absolutely just love it, and they still, yes, they have a nice brightness to it, but also a really great warmth and punch, which I absolutely love. So yeah, DR strings, definitely my favorite strings that I've been playing so far in my career. So yeah. Do I use any Line 6 products? No, I don't. I have played through some Line 6 products in the past. At one point, I was borrowing an old Guitar Pod Pro. It was one from like the late 2000s. I was mainly using like the delays and reverbs and some of the modulation effects on it. It was really nice, but the thing was huge. Um, but I would definitely love to try like the Helix and all that. Line 6, they've come a long way from their, remember the old bass pod, the little thing? Um, they've come a long way since that. I mean, they're making some incredible stuff. So I'd definitely love to try it out, but I don't have any Line 6 products currently. Play Nutshell. I don't know Nutshell. Is it another one of these mixed meter tunes? And yes, I do have perfect pitch. And for those of you who don't know what perfect pitch, it's the ability where I can hear a tone in literally anything, a note, and I can identify what the pitch is. And this, but still, I will still use a tuner to tune my instruments because I just want to make sure, right? Because there might be a day where, because having perfect pitch, I mean, it's still within your body, right? If you're feeling physically or mentally a little different on each day, like we do, that will also affect the way that I might hear something. So I always said, any gig situation, recording session, I always use a tuner. Even though I have perfect pitch, I always want to make sure that the instruments are properly in tune. But in terms of like figuring out, learning music, learning tunes and all that, and hearing chords, yes, that's something that's more or less like instant pitch recognition. And it's definitely something where, I definitely at one point I would just have to practice it again, where you could play a big piano chord cluster and I could pick out all the notes in it. I could more or less still do it. I mean, that was probably when I was transcribing a lot of things, doing a lot of arrangements. I haven't done that kind of thing in a while, so I just have to do some more practicing of it, and I'd be able to. It's a muscle. It really is. Some people ask me, oh, well, does it throw you off when you hear something and it's out of tune? I would say it used to when I was much younger, but not anymore. It's a whole thing of being able to kind of phase out something and actually listen to, like, so if there's a recording and maybe the tape has kind of stretched a bit and so it's going to be off, axis, right? Which is what I like to call it. Sure, I'm going to hear that, like, oh yeah, that whole recording is a little sharp. It might be in between, right? But I'm not going to let it bother me because I can still hear the music of what it's trying to convey, right? How I kind of figured that thing out is when I was in high school, I used to sing in a barbershop quartet, 4-part voices. And naturally, because we're singing a cappella, right? We're not singing along with any accompaniment. It's just 4 voices. And naturally, in a tune, you might drift a little. You might drift, the whole overall thing might drift sharp, or it might go a little flat. It just depends on what day, if everyone is warmed up or whatever. Sometimes we might just stay where it is. It's just like, when you're playing in a band, sometimes the tempo might get a little faster, or it might kind of come under a little, right? It kind of flexes. It breathes. And I had to learn how to actually go with that. Because when you have perfect pitch, you're so used to hearing things in its original state that sometimes it can actually be hard to transpose, even if you go up or down just a little bit. You're so so used to hearing the original state of something. and then when listening to other people that would be in competitions and all that, listening to other people, other groups singing sharp or flat, that's where I taught myself how to kind of just switch it off and just enjoy what I was listening to instead of letting it bother me, you know. So yeah, the perfect pitch thing. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun, but it's you still have to. You still have to work things out. It doesn't mean that like I can instantly transcribe stuff. No, I still have to like go back and listen to something a few times just to get the notes of something, and just to make sure, because it's almost the equivalent of like someone throwing out a bunch of numbers to you and then you have to recall it back. It's the same thing with a bunch of notes. Some people are better and quicker at it than others. And I've met people who don't have perfect pitch, who are able to recall melodies and anything even way quicker than me, right? So just because you have perfect pitch doesn't mean that you can learn songs super quickly. That's not always the case, right? It's just how much you've spent time doing ear training and training your ears to do stuff. So yeah. Obviously the coffee is kicking in for me, because when I start going on down a rabbit hole about something. And in terms of the tone that I'm getting, are you talking about just the... So right now, or were you talking about the tone when it was like when I had the effects going? So that's definitely the vibrato right there. I've got the bridge pickup on, and I've got my tone actually rolled off. So definitely going for the more darker. And I'll go between different pickups as well, because so both pickups, neck pickup. Oh, I need to open that up. Might just need to open that. There might be something loose in there. This bass naturally is just such a beautiful instrument. It has such a big, warm tone, but it also like sings really nicely. So this is my kind of my number one right here. So yeah, Simsy, I hope that it was helpful, and thank you for hipping me to Forager. So I'm excited. I'm excited about checking out more of their music. And yeah, it is definitely fun with the time signatures. The best thing to do is just to feel it, right? And yeah, it's also great to analyze and just to see what's going on. But in terms of learning tunes like that, just to feel and internalize the different parts, right? And there might be some things where you might need to count like a thing. If you're holding a note, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, I'll do stuff like that, right? But not when I'm trying to play this busy ostinato or something. I'm definitely not counting through something like that. That's just too much. Even if you're counting in your head, definitely not. So yeah. And cool, you use the DR, switch to the SIT strings. Nice, I've heard some great things about SIT. So that's cool, and I've mentioned this so many times, there's strings for everyone, which is really cool. And there's so many strings. I'm at the stage where, I've searched for strings for a long time, and I've found something that works for me and is doing it. So that's where I'm like, okay, let's just pause it. Let's just stop it right there. I'm going to use this because I'm good, right? Until at some point later on in life, I mean, I might either I stay with these strings forever, or there might be some other quest later in my life that I might be looking for. It might be a thing where suddenly, okay, I'm only going to play flat wound strings because that's, I don't know, who knows? That's the cool thing, is that, you know, as artists, is that it's some of us, you know, and it's not a thing of like, you know, being better than or anything. Some people will choose to go on that quest to keep things fresh, to keep finding new ways. Some people might just stay and be like, you know what, this works for me. And that old saying of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think those are just two different, you know, or two of the different pathways. And I don't think one is better than the other. I think it's your choice. You get to decide what works for you, what makes you comfortable, what makes you happy. That's what it is. Hey Mario, nice to see you on here. Thank you. Thanks for joining on. Mick says you still have a Bass Pod Pro in your closet. Nice. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. But yeah, they definitely were a thing in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? And you have my Bass Chords, the ultimate guide, and you love it. Thank you. Hey, I'm glad you're finding it helpful. And you see the workshop highlight course, which you're going to pick up. What's the difference? Yeah, so, no, great question. So the workshop highlights is essentially, so last year I did an online bass workshop focusing just on bass chords. It was a lot of fun, and essentially that is the highlight footage, you know, of all like the important topics and concepts that I covered. A lot to do with like applications and all that. It's essentially, yeah, it's from that workshop. And also addressing, you know, people's questions as well from some of the attendees, right? So in a way, those two courses, they go hand in hand together, because the ultimate guide essentially shows you all these different voicings, right, that you can play. And the workshop highlights shows you more of the applications of how you could use that, and just more, it's definitely more of like the concepts, my concepts that I love to use. It goes a little more in depth of things, you know, like using your index finger to bar as a bar, you know, just like bar chords, right? Doing things like that, using extended techniques like your thumb and all that, but essentially one of the main factors, how to get these different chord shapes just from using your index finger as an anchor. So that's what the highlights reel is. For those of you who are wondering, like, what am I talking about? Well, down in the description box, the links to my resources that I have here at Bass with Benjamin. So the different courses, you know, those bass chords courses that Mix 8 was asking about, as well as if you want to take a lesson with me, a one-on-one lesson, or even join my one-on-one bass coaching and mentoring program that is tailored towards anything that you are trying to work on as a bassist. So if you need someone to hold you accountable or to guide you in your bass journey, and you don't have to be a pro, you can be a beginner, intermediate player, and the outcome doesn't have to be where you have to be this professional bassist. It's whatever you want to do with bass playing. I'm just here to help guide you. If you're passionate about bass playing, I'm here to mentor you in that. Give you the occasional pep talk that you might need as well. But give you a lot of weekly feedback on your bass playing. So all those links are down below, in the description box. So just, while you're here, you may as well check it out. You try different strings from time to time. I mean, upright bass, that's a whole other rabbit hole as well. Just, where you use steel strings or gut strings or hybrid strings, whatever, whatever sound, whatever vibe you're trying to go for. It's the same thing on the electric bass as well, And B4, I'm having trouble figuring out the chords to the song Particles by Steve Smith and coming up with a melody over it. How can I improve? Okay, we can check out Particles. I don't know Particles, but I do know Steve Smith because I've played with Steve. I actually had to do this was actually a few years ago now, when I was still living in Los Angeles. I got asked last minute, like literally a week before, to play with Steve's band, Vital Information. The usual bassist, Baron Brown, rest in peace. He was, having, he was going through some health, issues, which ultimately a few years later led to his passing. Incredible bassist, absolutely underrated, but he was definitely, in my mind, a huge, important part of the Vital Information sound, even though this was a band that Steve had been doing since the 80s. But in terms of like it, really getting its sound together, Baron was a huge part of that. So yeah, I've played Steve's music, especially having to learn that music a week before, because we were doing 4 nights at Catalina's in LA, which is one of the main jazz venues there. But Particles by Steve Smith. So you're having figuring out the chords to the song. So let's see if I can do any better. Figure out the chords. Steve Smith. Because we didn't play this one. Particles. Let's see. This is from and this is from the mid 2000s. This is with, with some other heavy hitters: Dave Liebman, Aiden Essen, and of course Anthony Jackson. So I'm already scared because of how incredible it's going to be, and also for what it's going to be. Let's see. Beautiful. that I could totally go. I know what you mean. I totally know what you mean. And you know, this is another one I could absolutely go down the rabbit hole. I mean, there's some beautiful chords going on there. A lot of kind of slash chords using a lot of extensions. The one in particular, you know, have it, you know, the C minor major 7. One of the things to figure out, and you know, obviously Anthony is doing his kind of push and pull, which is a very signature thing of his. The first thing, you know, when trying to figure out chords like this is, all right, figure out the bass notes, right, of what is being played. Figure out the bass notes first. For some people, it might be the other way around. But if we're talking about, you know, as bass players, and I'm talking from my perspective as a bass player, the thing I'm going to be figuring out first is, okay, the bass notes. Because that will help me understand, okay, the upper harmony of what is being played against that bass note. And that's something where certain sounds in the upper register of a chord, you know, you loop something and figure out, okay, what are the obvious notes that stick out on a chord that you might not be able to necessarily identify right away. For me, there are definitely certain chords that I can instantly recognize by its chord quality, just because it's something that's, you know, there are certain chords that I gravitate towards, that I like to use in my composing and arranging, and everyone has their chords that they really like. So when you hear a tune, you're definitely going to hear the ones that you like stronger than the other ones, right? And it's always a cool thing, because this is a great way of discovering what kind of, you know, chords they are. Like the intro definitely had that kind of thing. So like a D minor 7, and then with a B flat, D in the bass, B flat major 7, C like sus, B flat with a D in the bass, G minor 11, B flat major 7, F/C, B flat, D, or yeah, G minor, C minor major 7. It would take me just a bit to kind of figure that out, but in terms of like the direction, just because there's so much of little detail intricacies in that harmony that's going on. The other thing to do is to, okay, figure out what the melody is, and I know you're trying to figure out how to play over these changes. Let's see if there's a solo section. Classic Anthony Jackson in there, right? Doesn't do anything else, just sits on there. So like changed key, like to like B major. Then we went back to like B flat major with G minor. Yeah, interesting. I definitely love to sit down with that some more. It definitely reminds me of like the Yellow Jackets, and it's definitely that era. I mean, if this is like mid 2000s, even though Yellow Jackets were already around, you know, at least 20 years already, probably even more, almost 25 actually. But this era of like Yellow Jackets, it definitely has that kind of vibe to it, especially with the. I kept thinking like, oh, feeling like this was Yellow Jackets. So it definitely has that vibe, and Yellow Jackets definitely have these kinds of chords, these kinds of voicings and harmony going on. It definitely is something. It's definitely has a little bit of diatonic harmony thrown in, but then there's a lot of modulation going on, and it makes the music pretty interesting, right? So that's cool. I haven't checked out this record, so this is off of a record called Flashpoint, and I guess this is more of a collaborative album by the looks of it. So Steve Smith, Dave Liebman, one of the great saxophone players, Aiden Essen, Anthony Jackson. So this is really cool. I mean, like, you know, we've got, you know, 2 albums here that we've been checking out that I haven't listened to before. 2 different things going on. Both have their own set of complexities, which is really cool. So that's cool. And Mix8, thank you. I appreciate it. We're trying to figure out chords. Yes, please check out, you know, the bass chords courses that I have on offer. I think you'll definitely find it really helpful. It's definitely something that I put together because I hadn't, even though I've come across a few bass chords resources in the past, but in terms of like looking at certain applications and the way that I was approaching things, I hadn't come across any of that. So I wanted to put out, and I've been, over the years, from students or people sending me messages, I've been getting a lot of questions about certain ways that I approach playing chords. So I wanted to make a resource that would help people do that. And especially with, even though bass chords have been around like forever, really, it's definitely something where we're seeing it being utilized more, even in mainstream music, and which I think is absolutely amazing, and the way it should be as well. So this is just to really help people utilize that in whatever musical situation you're in, and to go against that whole narrative. And that idea that a lot of people were trying to say about bass playing, that, you know, if you want to play chords, leave it to the guitar player or the piano player. Which, look, I obviously I completely disagree with that. There is a time and place where we can play chords on the bass. We're not going to play it all the time, but there are times where I feel that it's definitely essential, and it really shows what more this instrument can do and what it's capable of. Even by just taking one shape and moving it around, like, can inspire so many ideas. That's actually a nice loop. Let's do something with that. Try this, some of you saw my post. I've been trying the overdrive. Thank you, Mixate. I appreciate that. Yeah, chords have been around for a long time, and I'm glad that you've been finding it helpful and useful, you know? Another thing that also, obviously, bass chords have been a huge part of just my vision on the bass, right? And it was actually a bass chord that inspired me to play the bass because I loved just the richness of it. And so, thank you, Stanley Clark. Stanley Clark's School Days. That was the first time I heard chords on a bass, right? And so since then, it's always just been a part of how I view the bass as, being able to do that as well as thumping and popping and just playing the singular bass lines, right? I've always seen it as like this whole combined thing, right? On the bass, you can play fingerstyle, you can thump and pop, and you can play chords. That's always been the way that I've seen the bass. Obviously, yeah, there are other things you can do with it. We're bringing in tapping and all that, using other soundscapes, other, even like, using a pick and all that, other tools to play the instrument. So I've always seen the instrument as this multi-dimensional thing, right? But one of the things that really inspired me got me thinking of like having this kind of bass chords resource. I remember chatting with Gary Novak, who I mentioned earlier, one of the greatest drummers, and he used to play a lot with the late great Dave Carpenter. If you don't know Dave Carpenter, Dave was one of the top core bassists in Los Angeles on both electric and upright bass. He played a lot of Alan Holdsworth. He started out, a lot with Buddy Rich and all that, but he was definitely like the guy, or one of the guys, the main guys playing a lot of sessions. He was working a lot. But he played a lot of 6-string bass, and he loved to play chords. And when Gary and I first started playing together, obviously I'm doing my chordal thing, and he was saying to me, he's like, just before Dave passed away, he had just finished writing this book of bass chords for 6-string bass, but like every single he said there were like hundreds of different chord voicings that you could play on the 6-string bass. He had mapped it out. And of course, I asked him, I was like, man, do you have a copy of this? He's like, no. He's like, it wasn't published, but he had compiled everything together in order to get it published. And he said he saw it a few times. He said it'd been years, so he's not sure where it is. But somewhere is this whole thing, this resource that Dave has put together. And so that, inspired me to like, well, he was definitely onto something, maybe that is something that, because I haven't seen something like that either, and that's where I started to do this kind of thing. And this kind of resource needs to be available. It's not a gatekeeping secret. I think everyone should know how to play these kind of voicings. I think it's important, just like on a piano or on a guitar. I would love to hear more of it as well. So that's why I created this. And listening to Dave's chordal playing on the bass, I mean, he is absolutely phenomenal. And he definitely had a thing going with the way that he was playing chords. If you look at some videos of him with Alan Holdsworth, the Alan Holdsworth Trio, he's accompanying Alan like in his solos by playing some chords underneath as well. It's incredible. So I have a lot of, people who are big inspirations for me to thank for even having me even think of doing something like that. But I hope you guys enjoy it. Forgot I had the overdrive on. With the envelope. But yeah, some nice changes there. And thank you. Hey, this is all really, really good stuff. Mix 8. And yeah, I mean, it's that's the thing is. So in the ultimate guide, my course, the bass chords, is that yes, I go through every single thing that I know, chord shapes and all that, whether it's on the 4-string and on the 6-string bass, right? But then you also have a PDF included in that has all the diagrams too. So if you don't if you aren't able to, you might be out somewhere and you can't look at the videos or whatever, at least you have the reference to the PDF as well, which I just wanted to make sure that for everyone that, everyone is covered. I'm going to play along with I'm gonna get some loops together because just playing all these chords is obviously a lot of fun, and I'm feeling inspired. Oh no, that's not what I want to do. Not that wrong. Feeling inspired, and it's probably a combination of playing these chords and talking and listening to the music that we've just listened to, and also coffee as well. Which, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, there is a link down below. Ko-fi link. You can do so. Get me even more caffeinated. Let's see. So, where is it? It's under here. I was trying to figure out where a lot of folders to go through. That's nice. Let's use this one. This is kind of nice. Oh, I don't know. I may actually like this one. All right. Let's use this one here. All right. So I'm going to extend. You get to see in real time how I just come up with something as well. All right. So let me make sure my audio settings are correct. Oh yeah, I think that's what was happening, is that you guys actually couldn't hear because I didn't have it set or input device. I will try it now. Should be good now. No, you just the boards of series, nice. Hey, take your and that's a cool thing. Take your time, earn your certificate, because that's the thing. At the end, when you complete it, you get a little certificate, which is really cool. So yeah, take your time and always, go back to certain parts that you might not have understood at first. That's the thing. The best way to earn your certificate on it is to just take your time. Don't look at it as like you're like speed running through a game. It's about the journey of getting there, right? That's what it is. But thank you for grabbing it. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy it. Now, can you all hear this drum groove? I just want to make sure that the sound is routed properly. Just to loop the drum groove and just see what comes out. This is also something that is really good to just do. Record something here and play it over that. All right, do a count in. That's what it was. And actually, I need to start on the D flat major 7. So I'm just literally using major 7 chords. That's what I'm doing. And literally, I'm going in like cycle of fourths. That's literally what I'm doing, which is pretty nice. Gives you some nice. Just some nice kind of textures and sounds. So here we go. that's where I'm going to start the loop. See if I remember what I played. All right, bring that there. Bring the cycle mode. Oops, what am I doing? What am I doing? Bring it to here. And then we should have a nice little loop here. Just take it off. That's fun. That's nice. That's just all major 7 chords. I want to keep playing it. I want to because I was using my ear to just figure out where it was in terms of playing the bass line. And hey, bass guy, the bass guy is here. Right into Havona. Oh, interesting. Never thought of that. That's definitely a tune I need to practice because I'm going to be playing it on at least one gig coming up. So I definitely have to practice that at some point. Well, let's try this again. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna record another track here of just the bass. And I know that there might be a few kind of questionable notes, but yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, here we go. Nice. So what do we got? I'm just going to turn up the gain on this bass line here. Just put a little more gain in there. And on the chords, I'm gonna widen it out. So if you're listening with headphones or good speakers, you'll definitely be able to hear this. Let's see. Is that in this one? I'm trying to remember. You'll definitely hear this. Yeah, it's this one. All right, so definitely gonna widen it out. Let's see. Yeah. And what I'm gonna do, the EQ, I'm gonna roll off all the low end. Just kind of gives you the basic idea. Yeah, that's also a little tricky as well, because I'm also I'm using my ear as well to hear which chord. But I mean, that's a chord progression of just using major sevens. I would say there's at least two, there might be three minor chords in there, right? But utilizing something in the cycle of fourths. And these are the kinds of challenges or kinds of things I like to do when practicing as well, as putting something together like this. It's a great way of practicing composing, practicing arranging, and writing tunes that are challenging for you to play. Just because it comes from you doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be easy to play. That's the thing. And that's another way to to improve your playing, is write a tune that is got some complexity that you're trying to work on, right? Because there's always the classic way of literally like working on a tune composed by someone else that has some complexity that you're trying to improve on. Well, you can create that for yourself by writing a tune where it pushes you to do something, to play stuff that's you've never necessarily played, or that you're trying to kind of build up upon, right? And that's a thing that a lot of classic composers, musicians do. Pat Metheny is one of them. He's talked about that in an interview. He plays tunes, writes chord progressions and changes that's difficult to play over, even for such an advanced improviser and soloist as he is. To us, he makes it look easy, but for him, he's like freaking out. So that's the thing that you can do to help you improve on your playing, is do something like that. So yeah, that's a cool one. I'm gonna have to save that. And if I was to put the whole thing, faster, that would definitely be something which would be interesting. Like, I'm just curious. If I was to put it with a different drum groove, that was, let's see, that was much faster. Let's see. I'm just trying to remember where I saved them. Is it here? Yeah, it might be here. Oops. Yeah, so what if I put it with something like this? have to. Alright, so in order to do that, I need to put it into flex mode and carry it out here. And what are we at? 130 BPM. Alright, so I'm gonna mute the old drums I had. Let's see what this might just sound ridiculous and crazy, but I don't know, and probably just silly. Yeah. I could at least redo the bass. Let's have a go. I'm gonna duplicate that track. That one's muted. Unmute this one. So yeah, different mindset. All right, count in. All right, let's see. You know, little more growl going on. I'm gonna have to work on that one. But that's fun, and that's the cool thing is that taking something like that and then just trying it, like, okay, what's it gonna sound like over something that's faster or slower or in a different key. Even if you've written a chord progression, even using doing something as simple as, okay, well, what if I took that chord progression and what if I then put it in reverse? You know, like flipped it around. That's another thing too. If you feel stuck on something of how can I develop something or try to get more out of it, you know, you've written the chord progression, then okay, start with the chords, going from, instead of the way that you wrote it, then try it from, you know, going backwards in the chord progression. That's something that I learned from Miguel Atwood Ferguson when we were doing some recording sessions for his album that came out. Yeah, it came out last year now. Yeah, it was last year. There were some tunes that we did of his that he wrote specifically to where you could literally play them backwards. So we would do a few takes of it, you know, as written, and then he'd be like, all right, like now let's just vibe over the changes, over the form, but let's go backwards. So literally read it backwards, not necessarily like the melodies that were written out, but just the changes. And, you know, and he would do some improvisations over it, or he would point to someone to do that. And that was cool. And it got me thinking of like, okay, you know, what if you took like even like a jazz standard and put it in reverse, played it that way? It was a fun little kind of thing to do. So, yeah. Do I have any recorded solos I recommend to start trying to learn some good modern licks? Well, I mean, I in terms of like a bass player, I mean, obviously, you know, for me, where I've gotten a lot of, you know, vocabulary, obviously, Jaco being one, Stanley, Patitucci, for sure, because he definitely expanded a lot in terms of like, okay, thinking more of like a horn player. For me, I definitely recommend guitar players like Kurt Rosenwinkel, Jonathan Kreisberg, Mike Moreno, that kind of, and these are people that I've definitely, you know, listened to and checked out a lot, and because I really love their angular lines that they're playing. And, you know, a lot of them, you know, they're very influenced by Alan Holdsworth. I would say, you know, Alan was definitely someone who had some of the most incredible angular type of lines that he was just in improvising. And you can hear that in, you know, their playing as well. I would definitely recommend... there's a really nice solo that Mike plays. Actually, it's Mike Moreno plays. It's actually on a Robert Glasper record. And it's an album called Mood. And it's on the song called Mood. This was probably done like almost 25 years ago now, this album. But really nice solo he does over some nice changes. Definitely uses a lot of fourths, and that was something I checked out a lot where, yeah, also that helped me kind of more into my, you know, McCoy Tyner influence of using fourths, you know. So there was definitely a lot of that in there. Kurt, you know, for me, Kurt Rosenwinkel, any of his kind of playing, like any of his solos, definitely Zhivago, that tune of his is something I just listen to a lot. That one, also his tune called Minor Blues, you know. plays some incredible stuff. And the stuff that he's done recently, like in the last few years, playing with Emmett Cohen, just playing over standards and all that. Any of the videos that he's been putting out has just been incredible. Jonathan Kreisberg, the South of Everywhere, which I absolutely love. There's a really cool live version from like the North Sea Jazz Festival on YouTube of him playing that one, his tune, The South of Everywhere. And he plays an absolutely incredible solo on there. It's definitely, great sound, great lines, and that's the kind of thing that I've always gone for. So I would say, like, in terms of like, modern vocabulary, that's definitely been a thing for me. There's actually a Walter Smith III solo that I've been working on, that I've been slowly transcribing, because first of all, it's Walter, he's just absolutely insane, plays some ridiculous stuff. But there's a tune of his called Kate's Song. And he plays just an absolutely phenomenal solo on that, in terms of playing some incredible modern saxophone, angular kind of lines. He plays some really great stuff on there, and that is something that I've been checking out a lot. Like the things like that, to where it feels very Alan Holdsworth as well. But this is the thing, Alan was hugely influenced by Coltrane and Michael Brecker. There's a lot of that in his playing. So when you translate, some of the stuff that a lot of these cats are playing, or the stuff that Walter is playing, and there's a lot of similarities and all that, because a lot of their influence comes from from Coltrane. There's a lot of that in their playing, and that goes for a lot of instruments, right? So I'd say those are some really great things to kind of to start checking out. And don't just learn the licks just for the sake of it. Learn it, analyze it, internalize it, and use it in your own way. Make it a part of your vocabulary, but make sure you understand how to use it as well. Understand how it works. And that is the thing, don't just play the lick just to kind of impress people, or to just get, views. Use it so that you know how to create and tell a story with it. That's what it is. Make it part of your sound and your voice, right? David Coltrane is kind of old. Maybe I'm thinking that. I tell you, but this is the thing. It's like that's foundational music, and the stuff that he was playing, and that any of those people who came before us, what they were playing, it's so relevant to what we do. It's because it is a language. They created the standard. It's the foundation. It's foundational music. And it's our job in this day and age to take that and to develop it even further and to evolve it. That's just how music works. That's what we do with bass playing. And you might think that like, oh yeah, it's old, or that was a while ago. But when you look at the history, just history in general, that was within like our parents' lifetimes, grandparents and all that. Or even some of you who are watching here who might be much older, even within your lifetime. And I've got a gig coming up this month where I'm playing the music of Weather Report, and this is music that is 50 years old. We're playing tunes from Heavy Weather, the album, which is 1976. The tune Havona. I mean, that recording is 50 years old. The tune itself is older than that, because Jaco wrote that in like the early 70s, because he was playing that with his band. There's also a recording in 74 of him playing that on the Criterion sessions, or tapes it's called, where he's playing with a trio. So that music, but it's still so... It's still... You look at Teen Town, exactly, Hiver Rhythm. Teen Town, that is 50 years old. But it's still so relevant to how we play the instrument. That music is still played. You look at, Herbie Hancock and the Headhunters, Actual Proof. Any of that stuff. Like, 70s fusion. I mean, this is over 50 years old. But it still influences the way that we play. You look at bebop. That's way older. That we're looking at, 70, 80 years old. But it's, like something as simple... Yeah. Like that, all that language, that's 80 years old. It's crazy, but it's still the way that, in terms of getting these modern, like, lines and all that, it is the basis and the foundation of it. The way that people are making it sound modern is the techniques that they're using, the sounds, and even just taking a line like that and inverting it, superimposing it, putting it in different ways. That is the whole thing of transcribing something and turning it into your own vocabulary. But the basis and the guts of it, the DNA, it's all there. So yeah. Is it old? Sure. But it's also modern as well. And then, people are going to be looking back, 50, 60 years from now, right now, looking at the stuff that we're calling modern and going, wow, that's old. So, and I'm interested to know, like, what kind of stuff are people going to be playing? Yeah. Crazy, right? All right, folks. I've been on here for 2 hours. I'm going to call it a day. Right, meow. Exactly. Right, meow. What was it on Pokemon? Was it Team Rocket? Was it Meow? Meow, that's right. He would say that. That's so funny. But folks, if you haven't, please like and subscribe here to my channel. That way you can know when I post stuff, and also when I go live too. And of course, down below in the description box, all the links to my bass resources. So courses, if you want to take a lesson with me, join my one-on-one bass mentoring and coaching program. That is all down below. So check that out. You can also reach out to me via my website. And whatever I can do to help you with your bass playing. All right, whatever I can do to help you. All right, that's what Bass with Benjamin is all about, and it's why I do these live streams as well, because I just love the bass. I love connecting with you all, and I appreciate you showing up. So thank you again. Wherever you are in the world, please take care. Be safe out there. All right, and I'll be back again next week. We do this twice a week. I do a Tuesday edition, and then I do the one that happens at this time as well. So thank you again, everyone. You're awesome. Enjoy what you do on the instrument. Find the joy. And I'll see you guys again soon. All right? See you, folks. See you next time.